Well, hello and welcome to this sort of episode of the British Sitcom History Podcast. I am Alan, I'm here with Gareth.
Hello, sort of.
Yeah, it's not really an official episode because we're not looking at a show today. This is more of a roundup of Series 1. We've done 6 shows over Series 1, encompassing 12 episodes, and there's going to be a few months off before we get onto Series 2. In the traditional sitcom sense, we're doing 6 shows per series.
Because we're a British sitcom, none of this 23-episode nonsense.
Yes. But I thought it'd be nice just to have a bit of a roundup, have a kind of a chat about everything we've looked at, but also I've prepared a little quiz for you to test how much you've learned.
Brilliant.
Over the course of our recording
just
session.
for the benefit of the listeners, Alan messaged me yesterday and said, I've got a quiz for you, let's do it, let's record tomorrow. So I've got very little idea of what's coming, to be perfectly honest, but I'm sure we're all going to have fun.
I can't give you any prep time. I got a little quiz. It's just a way to kind of look at some of the little bits of trivia we looked at, and I got a music quiz as well.
Oh.
That is going to be the main bulk of this.
The thing is, before we get started on this, just generally speaking, quizzes are a pretty surefire way for me to lose my ride. Because I used to be, like in my 20s, I was a good man to have on your pub quiz team. I had good general knowledge. But now, at the age of 45, I can't remember anything. So this is going to be a podcast of you asking questions and me going, for God's sake, I know this.
I think I've pitched this at a pretty good level. Most of this stuff is referring to things we have talked about in the episodes. So
Some of those episodes were over 4 days ago. So no, I'm looking forward to this. But I'm just trying to manage your expectations.
So before we get into the quiz proper, just a little thing that I did, which I can kind of try and get a question out of it. But basically what I did was I thought I'll look at all the sitcoms that we looked at, which were Steptoe and Son, Bread, One Foot in the Grave, Rising Damp, Dear John, Time Gentlemen Please.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm going to look at the casts of these shows and see who appeared in more than one of these things.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I literally went through every cast member, like straight down to like people who made one appearance in one episode and, didn't have any lines. Anyone who was credited on IMDb. It ended up taking a lot longer than I really anticipated, and frankly, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't really that interesting in the end.
Did you find anyone?
Yes, there are several, but it wasn't worth it. But I've done it now, so I'm going to milk it for some information, whether you like it or not. So first of all, there were 35 people who appeared in more than one of our shows.
Get out of town.
Obviously, most of them are just jobbing actors who were just a postman in this, a policeman in that sort of thing.
Sure.
So not particularly interesting, but there were a few more notable people, and I guess the question is, can you name anyone? I know for a fact that there's 3 that we mentioned in our episodes that, and this person was in so-and-so as well. So let's see what you can do.
Well, I've got in front of me I promise I'm not going to cheat while we're doing this, but all I've got in front of me is a list of those 6 sitcoms, because that's the sort of level of help I need.
Fair enough, yeah.
So I'm looking at that list. Oh, I've got one.
Ooh.
We know that, I know that Leonard Rossiter was in Steptoe. He was in a couple of times, wasn't he?
That is correct.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Yeah, made 2 guest appearances in The Lead Man Cometh.
We talked about that in the episode. So that's where he steals the...
Yeah.
He steals the lead and tries to sell it to the Steptoes.
And then the other one where he's escaped convict.
That's right, yes.
And I'll give you this one as well, because I don't think you'll get this one. The other escaped convict in that episode, an actor called J.G. Devlin, well, he also appeared in Bread on a sort of semi-regular basis as the Irish priest, the local priest.
I was just going to guess with that name, was he a priest?
So a little connection between the two of them there, so I'll give you that one.
Was Patrick and Pippa, was Janine Davitsky in an episode of Bread or something like that?
No.
Not Angus Deaton, surely.
No. Janine Davitsky is the sort of person who would have turned up in One Foot in the
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, Dear John or something, playing an alcoholic.
Is that not right?
No, I'm afraid not. Okay, so 2 of the One-to-One Club members.
Okay.
Also appeared in One Foot in the Grave.
All right, so let's go through those then. So we have Kate, who's frigid. Did she? I've forgotten the actor's name, but did she appear in Belinda Lang? Thank you.
No,
yes.
no, it's not her. Yeah,
Oh,
you're
man.
running out.
Peter Blake then? Peter Blake? Because we know that we talked about him.
No.
Oh,
You've
my
had too many
goodness.
guesses.
Yeah, there's not many of them left. Is it the old lady?
Yeah, well, Jean Chalice, we mentioned this in our episode, that Jean Chalice was, who plays Mrs. Arnott. She is also in One Foot in the Grave, in the episode that we watched for One Foot in the Grave.
Oh, do you know what? I remember you telling me that when we recorded the podcast and me going, oh, my word. Well, I never... And I just had exactly the same reaction.
And Jean Chalice also was in an episode of Bread, just as one episode. And she is the only person that I found who was in 3 of these shows. So
Well, it makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
that made it all worthwhile. And the other one was Rachel Bell, who plays Louise in Dear John. She was in an episode of One Foot in the Grave as well.
I see. Have we got any connections with Time Gentleman, please? Because that
There's
feels
2.
like
There's 2
different...
from that as well, if you want to have a link of that.
Yeah, Time Gentleman, please, then, because that feels like... Well, it was definitely later in terms of timing than the others, but also feels like kind of different because it was on Sky. It just sort of feels like a separate entity.
But also, like, bear in mind when we said Time Gentleman, please, a lot of the regulars in that aren't
They're
really
not actors.
No,
exactly.
So that should narrow
stand-up
it down
comedians, which would be generous. Graham Fellows, has he appeared in anything?
No, I like it though. I like that as an
I
answer.
think, like
but
the
no,
idea
I'm
of
afraid
Graham
not.
Fellows turning up in Bread. That would have been quite funny.
Well, I can't forgive you for missing one that we actually talked about. Phil Daniels.
Phil Daniels. So what was he in then?
He was in an episode of One Foot in the Grave, which I mentioned definitely in One Foot in the Grave episode, I think.
Did you say 5 minutes ago? Did you say this is not even officially part of the quiz yet? And I've already got 4 things wrong that you've already told me.
Phil Daniels in one episode of One Foot in the Grave in which he attempts to kidnap and presumably going to murder Angus Deaton. And the other one is Roy Heather, who plays the old man in Time Gentleman, Please. The regular old man. He was in an episode of Bread as well. Okay. So, yeah, I didn't really expect you to do that very well on that.
But probably a bit better than I actually did.
One last thing. So there's an episode of Steptoe and Son called Seven Steptorai, which is kind of a take on Seven Samurai, in which they end up in a fight with a group of people. And this group of people, presumably 7 of them, were played by a group of stunt performers. Bill Weston, who again was in this Seven Steptorai episode. So many years later, he was in a few episodes of One Foot in the Grave as a sort of stunt arranger, stunt performer. But most notably, I noticed he was credited as a stunt performer in the very last episode of One Foot in the Grave.
Are you telling me
alert.
that he is the man who went under the car?
He would have been about 60 years old at the time. And
Wow.
an experienced stunt performer. So I suspect so, yes. I reckon he probably is. Bill Weston, shout out to him. Okay, that was the result of several hours it took me to go through the credits.
I mean, you can stop going on about it.
Really wasn't worth it, just so you know. Okay, so I've got a music quiz for you. I got so much material for this, I've had to break it up into a few parts. So this is part 1 of the music quiz. And what the quiz is, I've gone through, again, just the regular cast members or the regular supporting cast of the shows we looked at.
Yeah.
Looked at all those actors, and I found clips of them singing.
Okay, all right.
For a variety of different circumstances. Personal life, a job, in character. So I'm going to play you the clips. You've got to figure out who it is. And again, they're all just regulars or principal cast members of the shows we looked at. So here is number 1.
Down at the corner, saw the guys ask how they was going so well. It's the president angel that keep me out of Heartbreak Hotel.
I think I might know this one.
I tell them keep you cool, that's how you get the chicks to drool. If you wanna have a ball, you gotta get the chicks to fall. And lips smack and rock and roll. Lips smack and rock and roll. Because you show the chicks.
I think I know that. Was that Peter Blake?
It was Peter Blake.
Yes. Do you know what? I think I might have, when we were researching the Dear John episode, I think I might have heard that. What tell me what the clip is.
Well, I did mention this in the episode as well. So in the 70s, Peter Blake was the star of an advert or a series of adverts for Pepsi called Lip Smacking Pepsi Cola, in which he's like a 1950s Happy Days Grease kind of
Yes.
guy.
You sent me a copy of that. That's how I remember it.
Well, that is not from the advert. That is the single he released off the back of that. So that's
Wow.
Lip Smacking Rock and Rolling, 1977. So it got to number 40.
Rock and rolling.
But well done, you got that one. Okay, here is number 2.
Go on.
Rocky ship on my way to Mars. On a collision course, on a satellite. I'm out of control. I'm a sex machine ready to reload. Like an atom bomb about to it's so down.
That sounded like Leonard Rossiter.
Okay. Did you recognise the song? Could you tell
It
what
was the Queen song from Shaun of the Dead. And I know what it's called, but I'm only saying that because I can't stand Queen, and it amuses me to annoy Queen fans.
It's not Leonard Rossiter. Can't imagine him doing a karaoke Queen song. But the choice of song is relevant. This was the actor just appearing like as himself, talking and being interviewed and stuff. But he was talking about a specific character he plays, and when he was singing along, he was kind of doing it in character, sort of unofficially. So he was sort of doing a silly voice and singing a bit badly.
See, this makes me feel like it has to be "Time, Gentlemen, Please."
Right.
I don't know, maybe I wasn't hearing it very well. Is it Al Murray?
It was Al Murray, yes. Kind of.
I
as
couldn't hear the voice
landlord.
all that well.
Yeah, it's not a particularly clear clip. But yeah, that was obviously doing the Queen song because the pub landlord loves Queen.
Sure. I can tell, now you've told me, but this is like a moment of revelation for me, that Leonard Rossiter and the pub landlord sound very similar.
Okay, so next one.
Phantom faces at the window. Phantom shadows on the floor.
Proper operatic singing.
Empty chairs at empty tables.
I know this.
Where my friends
This is
will
Graham
meet
Bickley.
no more.
Well done, yes, it's correct.
Yes,
It's Graham
because,
Bickley,
Alan, because I listened. I remember you telling me that he was star of musical theatre.
Yes.
And that, whatever crap that was, had musical theatre plastered all over it.
That crap was Empty Chairs, Empty Tables from Les Miserables. I'll have you know.
I've got no time for that.
A very good song and a very good
You
performance.
see, Les Miserables, that could be converted into a quality sitcom. If they just took all the singing out of it.
But yeah, you nailed that one. Graham Bickley, of course, who plays the second Joey in Bread, but was primarily a musical theatre actor. Well, still is, I believe. Well done. Okay, next one.
I'm nothing special. In fact, I'm a bit of a bore.
No, you're not. You're not boring. But if I
Comedy.
tell a joke, you've probably heard it before.
I don't believe that.
No, you probably have.
But I
Alan
have
Partridge.
a talent, a wonderful thing.
I got it. I know who this is.
Everyone listens when I start to sing.
I'm so grateful and proud. All I want is to sing it out loud.
You
Yeah,
say
okay, well, I
you
definitely got
recognise
that
that
one.
was Alan Partridge, so that's a big clue, yeah.
I recognised Alan Partridge first, and that was Rebecca Front with him. I actually remember that. That's from Knowing Me, Knowing You, isn't it?
It is, and she's a really good singer in that. I haven't heard her sing
Yeah.
anything else, but she's very good in that. Obviously, Alan Partridge isn't.
Yeah.
Well done, yeah, nailed that one. Okay, next one.
Suddenly it happens and the dream comes true. Wonderfully, beautifully it happens and your world is new. Magically, you're holding the golden prize.
I think, just from the vowel sounds and the intonation, that was Annette Crosby.
It was indeed Annette Crosby, yes, well done.
I could pull out the Scottish accent there.
She's got a very distinct voice. That is Suddenly It Happens, a song. It's from a film called The Slipper and the Rose from 1976. It's some sort of Cinderella version. Okay, next one.
As I was a walking down Paradise Street,
To be way, blow the man down.
a flash looking packet I chance for to make.
Oh, give me some time to blow the man down.
I mean, I'm just going off the Irish accent here. Was that Wilfred Bramble?
No, it was not, I'm afraid. Nice
Oh.
theory.
Let's see. It wasn't Richard Wilson, was it?
No, I'm afraid not. I'll give you a massive clue. It was 1956 that song was released. And if it's not Wilfred Bramble,
Oh, really? So it was Harry Corbett?
that was Harry H. Corbett, yeah.
I can sort of tell, but it doesn't. It's not obviously him.
I think you can tell when you know. Yeah, he's obviously doing an Irish accent in that. That's Blow the Man Down. It's from a 1956 album of sea shanties, as far as I can tell.
Blow the Man Down is a classic drinking song.
Well, that's it. I think this album was sea shanties, and he was just on that song. He was just brought in as a jobbing singer.
Sea
for
shanties. Well, you see, the young people these days, the TikTokers, they think they've invented the sea shanty, don't they? Nonsense.
Okay, last one for this round. Nice quick one for you. Let's see how you get on.
Candlelight and soul forever. Dream of you and me together. Say you believe it. Say you believe it.
Right, so that's a Spice Girls song, which dates it. That's got to be from the 90s. So, oh gosh, right. So there's got to be someone from Time Gentleman, Please, or maybe One Foot in the Grave. Am I looking for the woman or the man?
The woman. I mean, she obviously that's from a show. She's in character there and putting on an accent, so might throw you a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Was it Julia Sawalha?
No.
It's not Emma Pearson, the second series Julia Sawalha, is it?
No, that was Janine Davitsky.
Oh, damn it.
And in her role on Benidorm, where she's apparently
right, okay.
a Yorkshire woman. So it's quite recent, relatively recently.
Yeah.
So like they're doing karaoke in the show, you know. That is the end of the first music quiz. You got a few. I don't think you need to be too ashamed.
Yeah, I don't think we need to keep score, do we?
It's just for fun. The points don't matter. Next up, I've got a quick fire quiz. So I've just got 10 questions, I think, or 11, something like that. And these are all pretty much based on things we talked about on the show.
Oh,
so this is like, how much did you retain?
This is a memory test. Is that what you're telling me?
Well,
terrific. Well, what I might do is just leave a little pause after you've asked the question, just so our listeners can have a little go before I leap in with the answer.
Obviously. Okay, I'll start you with an easy one. I think you'll definitely get this one. Which actor played identical twins in an episode of One Foot in the Grave? It's not an episode you watched, but we talked about it.
Is it Richard Wilson?
No.
Did we find out Victor had a brother?
No, I'm afraid not.
Oh,
it is something we talked about specifically. It was just a guest actor.
I'm not going to get this. I don't remember.
Dear me, your memory's worse than ours. It was Christopher Ryan.
Christopher Ryan, yes. Okay, I remember you telling me that. Yes, I apologise.
I had high hopes for that one.
That was the easy one. Jesus. The funny thing is, I've listened to those podcasts when I recorded them, when I was actually speaking them. Then I listened to them during the edit, and then I've listened to them again when they went out, and I still can't remember anything.
Oh dear. I'll test a bit more of your just knowledge then. Carla Lane wrote 2 sitcoms in the 80s with Felicity Kendall as the lead. Can you name one of them? Well, I won't go for both.
I want to say Butterflies, but was that Felicity Kendall? That wasn't Felicity Kendall, was it?
No, it's Wendy Craig in that.
Wendy Craig, yes, I'm mixing the two up, as was the nanny. See, I've just got those two in my head now, so you're gonna have to help me, bail me out.
Oh dear. Okay.
What were the Felicity Kendall ones?
Solo in 1981-82, featuring an early performance from Peter Howitt, and The Mistress.
Yes, we talked about that quite a lot. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of Peter Howitt then, obviously he went on to be a film director. Can you name 2 films that he has directed?
He directed Johnny English.
He did, and he didn't direct the other Johnny English, so don't even try.
Which is the one I have committed to memory. Because I got in my head that he directed Bean, but he didn't, did he? Because in my head, that's the same thing as Johnny English. No, I don't know. You're going to have to help me out with it, because I don't know what else he directed.
His first film, a film he wrote and directed, had Gwyneth Paltrow in it.
Sliding Doors. Sliding Doors.
Sliding Doors, yes, well done.
Thank you.
A couple others. Antitrust was one, and Laws of Attraction. There's some others he did.
We did talk about Sliding Doors. You're right. We did talk about that.
Yes. All right, I know you'll definitely get this one. In what sitcom does Peter Blake play a Welsh lorry driver?
Dog Food Dan and the Carmarthen Cowboy.
Yay, well done. A series that I have done a little bit on our Forgotten Sitcoms series on the YouTube channel, so go and check that out. I did a little review of that whole series. It's not a great show.
Do you know what, Alan? I really enjoyed that video you put together on that. I do remember that series. I watched it when it went out, but the only real thing I could remember about it were, I remember two things. Number one was the theme tune, and number two was Dog Food Dan's obsession with driving an abnormal load.
Well, yeah, you got to have some sort of aspirations in life.
Yeah, what is life if not, the pursuit of dreams?
Pursuit of abnormal loads. Okay, next question. If you don't get this right, I'm leaving. Rising Damp, as we know, began as a play. Okay, bonus question. What was it called?
The Banana Box.
Yeah, okay. I knew you'd know that. But who played the original Rigsby, who was then Ruxby in the original production?
Do I get a point for Ruxby? I knew it was
I'll
Ruxby.
give you that. Go on then. Who played him originally in the very first production of the play? They wanted Len Roster. He wasn't available, so they got someone else.
I'm going to be sat in a home with dementia, not that long from now, and they're going to listen to this episode and say the signs were there.
This is something we definitely talked about extensively.
I know we talked about it. Now go and tell me.
It is someone connected to another show that we've done.
Was it Harry Corbett?
No, it was Wilfred Bramble.
Oh,
God's sake.
Do you know what, Alan? The first question you asked earlier about people who've been in both, and I started saying something about Wilfred Bramble. It was that sort of loosely half-remembered memory of Ruxby in the Banana Box. That's what I was...
Oh dear me, you're letting yourself down. Well, I hope our listeners are doing better than you. Okay, so back in his sketch writing days, David Renwick had a regular writing partner. I'm not going to even pretend that you're going to remember that name. It's Andrew Marshall.
Thank you.
So the question is, which 90s sitcom did Andrew Marshall write that we talked about in our episode?
Can't I get a point for Alexi Sales Stuff, which I loved, and they both wrote on?
No, this is a 90s sitcom written by Andrew Marshall.
No, I don't know. I'm not going to remember.
There is also a connection to one of our other shows.
Is it 2.4 Children?
It is 2.4 Children.
Yeah, I did remember that. I had that in the back of my mind, but it wasn't. Yeah, okay. There we go. I got that right. I'm having that.
Okay, next question. There's no way you're going to remember this name, but if you can vaguely explain to me who it is, I'll give you...
Oh, how the bar has lowered.
So, in the Rising Damp film, made in 1980 after the series had finished, Richard Beckinsale had died, but because they were using a lot of the old scripts, they needed to find
a
like-for-like actor.
I know this. Go on, ask the question.
Which actor was brought in to play that basically the same
Oh, it was
role?
Christopher Strowley.
Oh, he knows it. Wow. How did you remember that?
I was an Only When I Laugh fan.
Oh, it turned out Only When I Laugh is the secret.
And there's a connection with Only When I Laugh because Richard Wilson was in Only When I Laugh and he was also in One Foot in the Grave. Oh, yeah, I've got it all.
Yeah,
I've got
and
all the answers.
who wrote Only When I Laugh?
Oh, don't spoil it.
Come on.
It was Eric Chappell.
It's Eric Chappell who did Rising
Yes.
All right, I'm giving you 3 points for that.
Oh, man, I'm coming into my own now.
Okay, now this is definitely a little bit of trivia that I mentioned in our Time Gentlemen Please episode. Two of our show principals, two principal actors from two different shows, are connected by an episode or an appearance on Noel's House Party. Who am I talking about?
I'm not going to remember. I don't remember.
Okay, so back in the early 90s when Jonathan Morris, off of Bread, was a sexy young celebrity,
yeah,
he got gotcha'd by the Edmonds, and one of the actors who was in part of the gotcha, who was obviously an unknown actor at the time, was Rebecca Front.
Oh, yeah, you tell us that. I think you told us about that in the Bread episode, though. Not Time Gentlemen Please. I could be wrong.
No, I think it's in Time Gentlemen Please, yeah. Okay, I think you'll get this one. I know you'll get at least one answer here. Eric Chappell, who wrote Rising Damp, wrote several other successful sitcoms. How many can you name?
One. Full marks. Only When I Laugh.
Yeah,
certainly.
We went through a few of these in our episode. And you recognised some of them.
I know, and I would recognise them again if only you told me.
What if I gave you the phrase hapless holidaymaker?
Duty free. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's well done. I think the other one that you will know is Home to Roost.
Yes, that was it. Yes,
Yeah.
I knew there was another one. Yeah, with John Thor.
And also he did The Squirrels, The Bounder, which I think is Peter Bowles in that.
Do you know, I nearly said The Bounder then. Yeah, I remember The Bounder. I think Peter Bowles did that just off the back of To the Manor Born. It was after that, so he was quite famous at the time.
Okay, not something we specifically talked about, but it'd be interesting to see if you can make an educated guess at this one. So of the 6 shows we looked at, which had the most episodes?
Well, that's a good question. So Steptoe went on for a long time, but had a big break in the middle. Riding Damp. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to guess Bread, because it was more like a soap opera than a sitcom.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
Bread, I think they had 8 series, but some of them were 13 episodes.
Yeah,
some were
really
6.
long series, yeah.
So Bread had 74 episodes in total.
Mm-hmm.
Steptoe, 57. One Foot in the Grave,
Rising
43.
Damp next. Okay.
No, One Foot in the Grave had 43. Time Gentleman Please had 37.
Oh.
Rising Damp, 4 series, 28 episodes. And Dear John, just the 2 series, 14 episodes.
Right. Okay.
All right. So last question of this round. Again, this is something we did talk about in our episodes. 3 of the sitcoms we looked at have American remakes that were somewhat successful. Can you name the lead actors of those American remakes?
Okay, I'll have a
If you
go.
name the shows as a start, that'd be good.
Yeah, so Steptoe and Son was remade as Sanford and Son, and Red Fox was Sanford.
That
I
is
can't remember the
correct,
name
Gordon.
of Son. Who was
The son
what
was
actor?
Demond Wilson.
Demont Wilson. That's right. But you said he didn't really go on to do anything else, did he?
He's a jobbing actor.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting thing that I noticed just when I was looking this up, which I obviously didn't pick up on before. Red Fox, as you may guess, is a stage name. His real name is John Sanford.
Ah, that is interesting.
Interestingly. But the Sanford and Son, his name isn't John, it's something else Sanford, but obviously they took the Sanford from that.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was the Steptoe and Son remake.
The big American remake I'm thinking of is Dear John, which is a real problem if you're trying to Google image search for pictures for social media.
Yeah.
And Judd Hirsch plays the main title role.
That is correct, yes, well done.
And I know that One Foot in the Grave, they tried to remake that, didn't they?
Yeah, we talked about it.
I can't remember.
I even put a clip of it in the episode.
Yeah, you did. No, I can't remember. Remind us all how that went, because it didn't last very long, did it?
Well, let me remind you, the name of the show was Cosby.
Oh, that's right.
It was Bill Cosby.
Yes.
And Felicia Rashad as the wife. There you go, you should have got that one.
I should have got that one.
Let's go and do some more music. You were doing a bit better there.
It's the last thing to go. Music.
Same thing again. Actors from the shows we looked at doing some singing and that. So on this clip, I've left quite an extended intro on the beginning of this song, even though it's not the guy singing. It's because I think it'll help you really place it in a time. So I think it might help. Okay.
What? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3,
Come on, yeah. Everybody, come on, yeah. Get up on your feet. Come on, yeah. Everybody, come on, yeah.
If there's anything that you want, if there's anything that I can do, just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you.
Wow. From me to you. See that I mean, yeah, that intro is very Jive Bunny, isn't it? Very 1990.
Well, yeah, it's a sort of electro.
I'm wondering if that is one of the stars of Bread.
Yes.
Is it Jonathan Morris?
It is Jonathan Morris, of course, when he was a sexy young celebrity. Released a single. I don't think it did that well. 1989, actually, that was released. But yeah, and obviously a Liverpudlian song, just to make sure everybody knows what he's doing.
Yes.
But yeah, that's well done. I'll give you that one. Okay, here we go. Next one.
And if all you've got to do today
I love this song.
is hesitate, stayed with me.
I have to say, I absolutely love that song. Catatonia were my favourite band of the late 90s. So, late 90s, it's got to be either someone from Time Gentleman Please, or maybe, see, I'm looking at you on the Zoom here, just trying to pick any clues out of your face. I'm going to guess at Julia Sawalha again.
That is correct.
Wow.
That is Julia Sawalha on Celebrity Stars in the Rise. So she is deliberately doing an impression of Cerys Matthews.
It was a good impression,
A bit more like Bjork, if anything. But
I thought it was all right. All right.
Yeah, it's a good, solid performance. That, yeah.
See, I'm pleased with this. So the last two, Jonathan Morris and Julia Sawalha, I've got through logic and knowledge, not through having to dredge my old memory.
Well done. The next one, I'll be very impressed if you get this next one, but let's give it a go.
Up here on the 15th floor across the old bombsite, I can see the shiny lights of town. Lovely ladies by the score, I long to hold one tight, but they don't even know that I'm around. 'Cause I'm a Skid Row Romeo, living on my dream. Skid Row.
Is that song called Skid Row Romeo?
Yes.
Well, it sounded very old-fashioned. It sounded very sort of end of the 60s type time. So I'm going to guess Richard Beckinsale.
Oh, okay. I see where you're coming from there. No.
But Richard Beckinsale is a Skid Row Romeo. Look at him, he's gorgeous.
Maybe the song's more sarcastic.
No, go on, tell me.
That was Peter Denyer, who is Ralph in
right,
Dear
yeah,
John.
yeah.
Obviously, well before that. That song was actually released in 1972. And it's in the same way that the guys from Steptoe and Son did. It's the kind of song, kind of unofficially, his character from a show, which was Please Sir in this case. He played this kind of naive sort of Skid Row kid. You can hear the voice, like you can recognise when you know.
And now you've said I can pull that.
Okay, next one. This is a bit of a toughie. Here we go.
When you met, you wore my cloak, she could not have seen your face. She believed she dined with me in her master's borrowed place. Furtively with scoff and quaff stealing what in truth is mine. When it's late and modesty starts to mellow with the wine.
That sounded like a classically trained actor trying to be a classically trained singer and doing his very best, but not really being good enough. Was that Leonard Rossiter?
No, but you know what? I can hear that there. I understand where you're coming from there. But no, I'm afraid that's not correct. So the clip is kind of a show within a show, because that is a clip from Phantom of the Opera.
Mm-hmm.
That specifically is the film version, although I believe this actor played it on stage as well. So it's from the film version with Gerard Butler that was made in 2004 or something like that, if that helps.
Is it Phil Daniels?
No, it is Victor Maguire.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
We did
I can see how that would happen.
He'd done a bit of West End stuff as well, but yeah, it's a pretty sturdy operatic voice.
Can I tell you, when I lived in London in the late 90s, a friend who had a birthday decided that she wanted to take us all to see Phantom of the Opera, and I've never forgiven her. I was actively furious. It was so bad. It's just not for me. Listen, I shouldn't say it was bad. It's just not for me. I'm not a musicals guy.
Okay, next one.
Somebody hold me too close. Somebody hurt me too deep. Somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep.
Before I answer, can I ask you, is this a bit of a trick question?
Yes.
Is that Judd Hirsch?
It is, yes. Well done.
Oh, nailed it.
Very good. That is the only kind of wild card in there. Everything else is legit.
No, it was good.
But yeah, that is a clip from Taxi where for some reason he just started playing a song on piano. It didn't seem to be a joke from what I could tell. So yes, that one was Judd Hirsch. Well done. This next clip, there is a lead singer who is not who I'm looking for, although it is a well-known sitcom actor. I'm looking for the person who's doing the backing vocals, which is going to be tough, but if you recognise the lead singer, it'll help sort of place it.
Oh, my God.
All right, you ready?
I believe Prince Charles got good O-level grades. And that Reagan has got presidential aides. And I believe that the SDP will win the next election. And the giant pandas can achieve erection.
It was obviously from the early 80s. Some sort of review, hilarious, university-educated comedians.
Yeah.
Was it Al Murray?
No, it wasn't. No,
you'd have been a bit late for that. Hang on. Let me have another
think.
think. Let me have another think. So
he would still have been at uni at that point.
I've got it. It was Angus Deaton, wasn't it? Yes, he would have been at that university age at that point. So let me think now. Who would have been the lead singer? Was the lead singer Mel Smith?
No, it's quite a distinctive voice.
It sounded like because I thought it was not the 9 o'clock news at first.
You're close. It's Rowan Atkinson.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was from. Obviously, it wasn't not the 9 o'clock news. I don't think Angus Deaton was involved in that. The clip I got it from was from Saturday Night Live, so it must have just been some little sketch thing. But I saw a few clips of them doing essentially the same act and different things.
Do you know? I don't want to potentially spoil a future question here, but have you seen Angus Deaton's Bee Gees knockoff band? Him and two other,
I think
Michael
I have,
Fenton
actually.
Hughes, Michael Fenton Hughes or Michael Fenton Smith. Anyway,
Fenton
three
Stevens.
actors. That's it. Thank you, Michael Fenton Stevens, Angus Deaton, and someone else, and they did a Bee Gees piss take. And they actually were quite big. They went and toured in Australia and all sorts of things.
Yeah, well done. We've got some more music coming up later. I've got another quick quiz for you. Okay, so this little quiz I'm calling Comedy Connections.
Oh, great.
So what I did was I just got a starting point, and then I asked a question, and then the answer of that question sort of inspired the next question, right?
Is this like 6 degrees of steptoe?
Kind of, but it was just sort of in the random order that I
Go
went.
for it.
Right. So I did try and bring it back to things we'd done at points, but yeah, some of these are more sitcom knowledge, general knowledge. Okay, so Steptoe and Son, of course, was written by Galton and Simpson. How did they meet?
Oh, I know this. They met in a sanatorium because they both had TB when they were young.
That's correct. And next question, Ray Galton later wrote a sitcom based on those experiences. Now, the question isn't what is it called, but you want to start with that?
I can't remember what it was called. Do you remind me what it was called? Because I can remember stuff about it.
It's called Get Well Soon.
Get Well Soon, that's right. Yes,
But that wasn't the question. So I did a little Forgotten Sitcoms video about Get Well Soon as well. Check out the YouTube video. But I wanted to ask you which actors play the two leads.
It's Eddie Marsan.
Yes.
Because I'm a big Eddie Marsan fan. And... Go on, tell me.
Matthew Cottle.
Matthew Cottle, from Game On.
From Game On. Okay, so Matthew Cottle, as you correctly identified there, did appear in Game On. I asked this question...
I'm ready for Game On.
With some trepidation. The character of Matthew in Game On was played by two different actors. Can you name either of them?
Ben Chaplin.
Yes, well done.
I don't think I even know the name of the second. I don't think this is a bad memory thing. Who did play the second
That's
Matthew?
fair enough, yeah. The second Matthew was Neil Stuke.
Yeah.
Neil
I can
Stuke.
picture his face, but the name doesn't ring a bell, actually.
Well, my next question regards him. Neil
dear.
Stuke... yeah, good luck. So Neil Stuke obviously was in Game On. In 2009 and 2010... he was in a sitcom which was a remake of a 70s sitcom. He played the titular character's boss. So he was a supporting cast member. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? Because that's the question. What am I on about? A well-known 70s show was remade in 2009-10 to less acclaim.
Was it the thing that Martin Clunes made?
It was Martin Clunes in the lead, yes.
I can't remember what it was, but I can picture it. I can picture Martin Clunes and yeah. But go on, tell me what it was because I can't remember.
Well, the remake was called Reggie Perrin.
That's right. Yes.
Obviously, a remake of Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin. So Reginald Perrin was originally played by Leonard Rossiter.
Mm-hmm.
Rossiter appeared in a couple of Kubrick films. Do you know what films he appeared in?
Yes, he appeared in 2001, which we talked about.
Yeah.
Which I always find weird. But you told me he also appeared in Barry Lyndon, which I've not seen.
That's correct, yes. And just to connect to that, so Stanley Kubrick, he liked he filmed all his stuff in Britain, the later stuff anyway, and he liked his comedy actors. So which famous sitcom actor appears as the chief prison guard in A Clockwork Orange?
Do you know, confession, I've never seen A Clockwork Orange. I know, it's a big hole in my film.
Well, he was an original cast member of Last of the Summer Wine.
Okay.
And he is most famous, of course, for playing an Indian servant to the British concert party in It Ain't Half Hot Mum.
I can't remember his name. Michael something, isn't it?
Yes, Michael Bates.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that one. I would never have got that.
Well, next question, connecting to It Ain't Half Hot Mum. So one of the members of the concert party, one of the sort of lesser members, was played by Kenneth MacDonald. Now, name doesn't seem to mean anything to you from the look on your face, but he would go on in the 80s to become more famous as the landlord of which sitcom pub?
Was it the pub from Only Fools and Horses?
It is.
Yes, but I can't... The Nag's Head. The
Nag's Head, yes, well done. Yes. Kenneth MacDonald. Yes, that plays the landlord of Nag's Head.
Yes.
So, Only Fools and Horses there, written by John Sullivan, of course. But according to legend that I told you in our episode, John Sullivan got his start by discreetly passing sketch scripts to which comedy actor?
Was it Ronnie Barker?
It was Ronnie Barker, yes, because John Sullivan was working in the props department on Porridge. So yes, it was Ronnie Barker. And Ronnie Barker, of course, worked on Porridge alongside Richard Beckinsale. What sitcom was Richard Beckinsale filming at the time of his death?
Yeah, I don't remember. I do know we talked about it, but I'm not going to remember the name of it.
I don't know if I mentioned this. I watched an episode of it just to sort of see what it was. But yeah, I don't think we talked about it. It's called Bloomers.
Yeah, I think we did talk about it. Yeah, go on.
So there's only 5 episodes of Bloomers because he died before they managed to do the last one. I think, if I recall correctly, when he didn't turn up for rehearsals, that's when they sent someone round to knock on his door and find out what was going on. And
oh God,
obviously it was not a good situation. So next question. One of the co-stars in Bloomers is David Swift. No, okay.
Once
so
again,
Swift...
Alan looks at my face on the Zoom call and realises I am out of my depth.
Well, here we go. David Swift is probably going to be best known to you because he played a newsreader in which 90s topical sitcom?
Okay, I know who you mean now. It's Drop the Dead Donkey.
Yeah.
And he plays the Andrew Neil proxy.
Yes, yes, that's right. Yes, well done. Okay, so last question just to round this one off. So another star of Drop the Dead Donkey is Neil Pearson. And back when he was a young man in 1984, he was appearing on stage in The Lute at the Lyric Theatre. Why is that notable for our purposes?
Because that is the play that Leonard Rossiter was appearing in when he died.
That is correct, yes. I think it might have even been Neil Pearson who was on stage waiting for Rossiter to...
Oh God, was it the same? Oh right, it wasn't just the same play, it was the actual same production, right? Okay.
Yes, that's right, yes. So there you go, that's it, that's the end of that round. You did all right there, I think.
Yeah,
not too bad.
Right.
Okay, last thing, we've got some more music clips here. Back to our principal actors. Here they are singing. Who the hell is it? Let's try one here. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. It's quite a long clip, this, but it's a nice song. So there you go.
Halfpenny's a penny is twopence, and 1 1/2 is 4pence the old. Yes, 9pence is 4pence, and 10pence is 4pence. They'll give us a bob now for 5pence, I'm told.
I mean, he might as well be saying, Harold! Very distinctive voice, isn't it? You can't disguise that. That's Wilfred Bramble.
That was him in his prime. Could you tell what he was singing about there? Could you make out the lyrics?
No, I couldn't make out the words.
It was something. A penny is twopence and 8 knees a penny. It's called the Decimal Song.
Oh my God! So what? So are you telling me that the Her Majesty's Treasury enlisted Wilfred Bramble to simplify decimalisation to the masses?
No, I think it was more a song in response to confusion over decimalisation. It was art imitating reality there. Yeah, that is called The Decimal Song. Could you guess what year that might have been released?
Well, 1971, I guess.
That's correct. Well done. That's nice, though. I think we should have more of that. Of just like sitcom actors just releasing topical songs about things that are going on. That'd be good.
Yeah, Phil Daniels' Brexit song.
Next one.
Whatever you want, whatever you like, whatever you say, you pay your money and take your choice. Whatever you need, whatever you use, whatever you win, whatever you lose. I could take you home on the midnight train again. I could make an offer you can't refuse. Whatever you want.
I'm going to have to guess that was Richard Wilson.
No. Have you got any kind of sense of like what time that might be or what era?
Well, I mean, it's a status quo song, isn't it? But the quo are timeless, aren't they?
Well, I mean, did you recognise that there was quite an elderly voice there? It seemed like it's sort of an older guy's voice. I'll let you know this was done before the show that he appeared in.
Okay. Is it the old man from Time, Gentlemen, Please?
No, it is an old man from Time, Gentlemen, Please, but not the old man. It's Barry Gosney.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Who plays Uncle Barry.
Uncle Barry, who's actually his dad.
So that is, of course, a clip from the Harry Hill show, in which the regular joke was they got this old man on who couldn't seem to act or sing and then get him to sing. And you didn't even get the bonus point there that Al Murray was in the backing of that. So that was Harry Hill and Al Murray doing the status quo impression at the back. Okay, that was a toughie. What have we got next? Okay, yeah, this is an interesting one.
Ain't the years gone by fast? Though I suppose that you have missed them. Though I almost forgot to ask, did you hear of my enlistment?
Funny, I've been there, you've been here. We ain't had no time to drink that beer. 'Cause I understand you've been running from the man that goes by the name of the Sandman. He flies the sky like an eagle in the eye of a hurricane that's abandoned.
I'm going to be honest with you, I quite like that. That could have, like trying to date that could have been a kind of late 60s ballad or equally a mid-2000s indie rock ballad. My first thought was Phil Daniels.
Phil Daniels is correct.
It is, right, okay.
Yes.
So when was that then? Date that for me.
That's Phil Daniels in 1975, when he would have been about 16.
I quite like that.
And that was on some sort of TV show, which I think must have been some sort of like youth show, and they have people on doing songs and stuff. The other person singing in that, struggling to harmonise together, was Gary Kemp.
Gary Kemp?
An equally young Gary Kemp.
Wow, yeah, Spandau Ballet.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. There's a clip of that on YouTube, his little bumfluff tash and all that. It's quite nice.
To be honest, I'll be honest with you, that's the best thing I've ever heard Phil Daniels do.
A quick one now.
All the prices are low whenever you go. That's Asda Price.
Classic. You see, Asda have just reinstituted that Asda Price jingle, haven't they?
Yeah,
but
right.
I'm guessing that was from the first time around. I think that was one of the stars of Bread, because there was a slight Scouse twang to it.
Was it?
Maybe not. But judging by your face, I'm wrong. So let me have another think. It's not Richard Beckinsale, is it?
It is Richard Beckinsale.
Oh, wow.
Must have been the late 70s in an advert for Asda Price. And here's a little interesting tidbit for you. Someone else who appears in the advert as an unspeaking essentially a featured extra role, is Kenneth MacDonald.
Who is later became the landlord of the Nag's Head in Only Fools and Horses.
That's correct. And Kenneth MacDonald, he died in 2001 quite suddenly of a heart attack. He was only 50. But one of his very last credited appearances was just in one episode of Time, Gentlemen, Please.
Oh, interesting.
I can connect anything, mate.
The circle is complete.
Okay, there's two more, but this one, it's impossible. So, you're not going to get it.
Singing at the moon, seaside pleasure and all that shagging around. All into your head, she said what she said. Get ready to roll back the dice. Fall out of your bed, we'll wake up the dead. Get ready to roll back the dice.
That was all right as well.
Okay.
Well, give me a bit of a clue then. Steer me in the right direction.
Okay. That song, it's not really a proper song. It's just, it seems to have been made specifically for a film, just to be in the backing music for something. And it's from the film Laws of Attraction.
Now, Laws of Attraction was directed by Peter Howitt.
Yeah.
Was that Peter Howitt singing?
That was, well, according to the credits of Laws of Attraction, that song is co-written and co-performed by Peter Howitt. So I think his voice is in there somewhere, but it's sort of the two people singing at the same time. So, okay, very last one. I think there's a nice easy one to finish you off with. There we go.
What's the use of worrying and feeling blue? When days are long, keep on smiling through. Spread a little happiness till dreams come true.
It's the middle eight now. Here we go.
I mean, it's obviously Richard Wilson, but I am so curious to know the story behind that.
Well, that is Richard Wilson, yes. And obviously, that is his appearance with Zig and Zag on The Big Breakfast.
I think I've seen that on YouTube, and you've never seen anyone who's unhappy to be there. It's one of those moments where you think, is he doing the character, or is he living the character?
I think he knew what he was doing. He was having a good time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. That's the quiz.
Well, I enjoyed that when we got past the embarrassment of not remembering anything you told me over the last 3 months.
Yeah, your memory is obviously shocking, but
yeah.
There you go. I've got a few other tidbits that is just sort of like little bits of trivia and stuff that I found, which I don't think I managed to squeeze into the episodes. I may be repeating some of these, I'm not sure. In our episode of Steptoe and Son that we watched, Cross Swords, did you notice that the antique store that they go to with Derek Nimmo is called Galton's?
I did not notice.
It's called Galton's. Trivia.
Did they ever go to a Simpsons establishment?
I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, bit of bread info. So I did a Where Are They Now video for Bread. So I went through the major cast members of Bread and sort of like, what have they done since the show? You can find that on our YouTube. But basically, since I recorded that, 2 of them have died. So I thought I'd better update that. Ronald Forfar, who played Dad, Freddie Boswell, he died in September, I think. And I managed to edit my video before I put it up because I found out about that. But then Eileen Pollock, who played Lilo Lil, she also died in November. So just updating you on your Bread stats there. If you want to update your info on Bread. 1 Foot in the Grave, we talked about well-known guest stars in our episode. Yep. You've forgotten them all. But one that I missed was an appearance by a young Lucy Davis in one episode, pre The Office, 96, I think it was. So I missed that one. I thought I'd better let you know about that. That cropped up when I was going through all the cast members to find that information. Yes. When we were talking about Rising Damp, I mentioned Don Warrington had been on The Dancing Show in recent years, but I didn't realise that he was on the same series as Phil Daniels was also on that same show.
Okay,
it's a little connection for you.
Have we got any other connections with either The Dancing Show or maybe the Jungle Program?
No, I did look for The Dancing Show at least, but it's the kind of wrong era really, because you know the ages of people are a bit old by that. It's the sort of thing Jonathan Morris probably been on The Jungle, hasn't he?
If it had been 10 years earlier.
And here's another sort of sitcom connection for you. You know, they did a kind of prequel of Only Fools and Horses called Rock and Chips. I don't know if you saw that.
I never saw it, I'm afraid, but yes, I'm familiar with it.
Well, do you know who played Grandad Trotter in that? The young granddad, obviously.
No, go on, tell me.
Phil Daniels.
Phil Daniels. All right. Okay, I didn't know that.
Master
no, I
of
didn't know that.
disguise. There you go. Okay. A little bit of trivia that I got from Time Gentleman Please. So, do you know when Uncle Barry comes along and he's always sort of with two other guys called Dave and Mike, and they kind of have a they have a little plot arc of their own. So Dave, out of Dave and Mike, is best known because he played Tinky Winky in the Teletubbies.
Is that right?
Yeah. What a fantastic CV.
Job being actor.
Julia Sawalha, obviously in Absolutely Fabulous. And there's an episode of Absolutely Fabulous in which Saffron, her character, writes a sort of semi-autobiographical play. And they put on this play, and I think the other characters go and see it, and it's obviously all about them.
Yeah.
So we have actors playing the characters within the play.
Yeah, yeah.
And the woman who plays the Saffron character, the Julia Sawalha character, is Emma Pearson.
Get out of town. Is that right? How did you not mention that?
And this is pre-Time Gentleman Please. I think we had so much to say about Time Gentleman Please that I kind of had to let some things go, because
That's extraordinary. On. Well, that can't be a coincidence, can it? That must have, like, Richard Herring must have seen that.
Yeah, probably.
When they broke up with Julia Sawalha, and he thought, right.
Yeah, so there you go. It's just some odds and ends that have just sort of cropped up in my little trivia bag. So I thought I'd throw them in here in our little roundup episode. So, final thoughts, Series 1. We've had some laughs.
I've really enjoyed it. We've for the benefit of our listeners, we've already decided, and we're not going to tell you, but we've already decided what sitcoms we're going to cover for our next series. So we're going to start recording those now and get them all, watch all the sitcoms, record all the podcasts, and then we can launch them again. And we're planning to release a new series probably in June or July, I think is when we'll get that out. That's the plan.
Yes, and the shows we're doing span from 1961, I think, to about 2010. The real range of stuff.
Rather like with this series, we've tried to get a range of time scales, but we've also tried to get a range of a couple of really big, top 10 sitcoms, and a couple of perhaps less known or less well remembered. But it's always good to go back and review these things and take a look.
And there is another one, as in this series where we had Dear John, there is another one of these 6 that we're going to do that I don't really know anything about. I'm kind of aware of it. Mm-hmm. I've never seen it. And apart from the bare bones, I don't know anything. So I don't know if I'm looking forward to that, because there's about 8 series to watch. But I think they're all going to be exactly the same. But I'm sure it'll be fascinating. But that's it, Series 1.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the listeners, and also thank you for those that have interacted with us on social media. We are on social media on Twitter and Instagram at BritComPod, and we're also on Facebook, a British Sitcom History Podcast. So please do keep interacting, asking us questions, and Alan will be putting more videos onto YouTube whilst we're away as he does his research, but we'll be back with a new series in June.